ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, viewers and listeners.
Children of all ages.
Viewers and listeners of The Bench with Jenna and Jon, back by popular demand. Christian Louboutin spiky trainers. Get them up. And their owner, George Williams, captain.
They're iconic now. They're iconic.
Their owner
part of the podcast.
Their owner is the England captain, the Warrington captain, George Williams, the injured George Williams. Welcome back. Welcome back, Shoes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Jenna's more excited about your shoes being here than you.
Well, I had a bit of a standoff in the mirror, Jon, when I was getting my outfit on. I thought John's giving me that much abuse about him.
I don't know if it's abuse. I don't know if it's abuse. I think it's more interest. I'm intrigued by them.
So I had to double down and wear them again, just to make sure. Just to make sure.
You wear them well, George. The reason you're part of our coverage of Magic Weekend, which by the time this goes out is in the past, is because you're injured. It was a bad injury, ankle, surgery done. 10 weeks, I think you're meant to be out. Give us some good news.
Yeah, 10 weeks is what they normally say. 8 to 10 weeks. I think we're following a programme that Leinster Rugby Union have used, which is getting players back in 7. So that's the goal for me. I've had 2 weeks off already, like I say, after surgery. And it's 5 weeks till Wembley.
What was it?
It's posh word is syndesmosis, but it's basically you rupture your ankle ligaments. So they put the tight rope, it's called the surgery.
So they drill a little hole through the bottom of your leg and they tight rope the bottom bones of your leg together, don't they?
That's the one.
So aim or target is if Warrington were to advance to Wembley.
Interesting facts about the syndesmosis injury. They do it in the NFL preemptively now. They repair it.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Before it's done.
They repair it. They actually do that surgery before people play.
Is that something we should maybe look at in rugby league?
Well, it makes sense because I did the grade 2, which is not a full rupture but a tear in round 1 last year. So it was basically a ticking time bomb for me, really. So that makes sense.
Yeah, get it.
If you've already got little tears in there, eventually, same movement will snap it, which happened to me. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, get it done. Just get it done.
I might get mine done now. Ever made sense.
I might get it done now.
Okay.
For no reason whatsoever.
Let's get back to George, though. So you're targeting Wembley return, fingers crossed.
Is that tight? Is it tight, that timeline then? For Wembley?
Very tight.
That'd be 7 weeks, 2 days. So it's been done before, but only 2 players have made it back in 7 weeks. So that's a goal. Obviously, it all depends on the semi, but if we do win, I'll be putting my hand up to play, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you tell us the 2 players who have succeeded?
The Leinster Rugby Union, so I'm not too sure.
Okay. So
they've got this mad programme that they're following, so I'm on the same.
So first rugby league player to return from that kind of injury so quickly. I mean, if anyone can do it, it's going to be George, isn't it?
I agree.
So I think with this podcast today, I mean, we're going to try and get through our segments and all of that, exciting segments that we have. But I do want to get your take on something that the previous week has been dominating headlines, and it's Luke Keary's comments about Super League. Just for people who might not be aware, it's probably one of the biggest stories in the game at the minute. He has basically had a scathing attack on the game in this country. He did an interview with, I believe, the Wide World of Sports in Australia. Yeah. And I personally haven't seen footage of the interview, but I've just read the transcript. And just to paraphrase, he's basically called Super League horrendous and unwatchable. I've spoken to Steve McNamara, the Catalan Dragons head coach, Luke Keary's head coach, and Steve has defended him and basically said that it was taken out of context and that there was a lot more in the interview that might come out in the coming weeks. Already a lot of it's come out. I want to get both your take on it. George, you've obviously played in the NRL. You're one of our biggest stars over here now. When you read those comments, whether they were taken out of context or not, I believe he still said what he said. He may have then gone on to try and bring it back a little bit. How did it make you feel?
Yeah, it's a strange one. I think some of the words he used, like unwatchable, I don't know in what way he means. Does he mean on the field? Does he mean on the telly? I don't quite know what he means in that aspect. He's on about the standard of certain things, I don't know. But I understand Luke's been at the highest of the game. He's played in NRL Grand Finals. He's won 3. So his career speaks for itself. But we're striving to do what the NRL do. They're a massive billion-dollar company that obviously we're learning a lot from and trying to strive to be like. So to kick us down when we're on the up, I think the attendances are up. There's a bit more interest. There's Ashes at the end of the year. It's Magic Weekend this weekend. So I think it is a bit of kick in the teeth when we're trying to trying to go on the rouse.
Can you imagine if it had been here 2 years ago? Maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What would he have said then? If anything, things are way better. All the games are on TV. You can stream all the games. There's probably more content out there than there ever has been. When I read what he'd said, I was frustrated. I was angry at first because I thought, look, Luke's been here for a very short period of time. I agree with what George says.
And also that interview was done a month ago, apparently, so he'd only played it, as you say, like 2 or 3 games. Yeah,
but I think George nailed it with Luke's career. It speaks for himself. I think he's been an exceptional player. Achievements unbelievable. He's come over here, I think, look, just to give some context, I think it's safe to say his time in Super League hasn't gone particularly well. You know, he's not lit up the competition. He's on marquee money at Catalan. The start of the year was incredibly tough for him. He really didn't get going. So there's a little bit... I think what we need to do is separate Luke Keary and his performances in Super League with his comments. Some of what he says I think is really valid. One is I think it's really valid, but I think it's super obvious. You know, the NRL is better than Super League. That's not a shock to anybody. No. The NRL has more resources than Super League. That's not a shock to anybody. Yeah. Channel 9 and Fox have more coverage of the game than Sky. Of course. So a lot of what he said is just obvious. So that's when it becomes, well, why are you saying it? And if he's having such a bad time over here, like, he's on marquee money, he's not lit the competition up, just go home.
And he's in France. So I was joking off camera with Jenna. I said, maybe he doesn't know people are talking about it because they speak French. He's Australian. He wouldn't know what they're talking about.
Everyone's absolutely talking about the league.
The bright side of it, but funny side.
I have to say, I've been to Perpignan a few times, and it's such a rugby league city. Like, the game is loved there, and you're right. I do feel like everybody is wearing their Catalan colours.
Some of what he said is just so obvious. Everybody knows that. Like, we've been in this country. I've played in this country for 20 years. The conversation, it's almost like what annoyed me about it was he's saying it as though we don't know the issues that we've got. Like, the issues that we have as a sport over here, we talk about all the time. You know, and what, you know, the one thing that annoyed me was unwatchable and horrendous. I think that language is just... you know what? It's come from a guy who's extracted a load of money from the game, from an incredibly privileged position, to then... Do you know my analogy? And I use this analogy. It's like Luke Keary's an actor, right? And there's a film out at the cinemas, and he's one of the main actors in it, and he's telling everybody not to go and watch it because the film's crap. Can you imagine?
Makes no sense.
Can you imagine like that? Just would never happen in other sports. It wouldn't happen. I think he's been stitched up.
Yeah, I think as well.
He's been stitched up.
In a sense, perhaps, you know, I mean, it's in black and white. He used those words. Perhaps he didn't mean the meaning that we're taking. Like, as George kind of said, unwatchable. What does he mean, unwatchable? In the sense that it's a bit slower with the video ref situation at the minute. I agree with him sometimes. I said it last week on the podcast. Sometimes it is unwatchable. It rips the atmosphere out of the stadium.
Then my question is he actually watching the coverage? Because we're having these conversations all the time.
From what he said, I don't think he can seem to find it. He mentions that, you know, the NRL app is you can watch every game live. You can do that with Super League as well. So factually, that was incorrect what he said, because every game is available, obviously live on Sky, and also there's the Super League Plus app.
But he's taking big money at a club, and he has a squad number, and he's playing, and he should be one of our marquee players that is like leading the way, champion, and pushing things and trying to improve things. And I don't think he's hit the mark in any way with his comments, you know. But he's entitled to his opinion as well. Of course we want people to say, if he thinks that, he shouldn't be vilified for saying it, but he should be held to account for saying it as well. Like, it's not. And
you need some honesty, like I said, John. Some of the issues are true.
Yeah, of course.
They're true, but it's the unwatchable comment for me that stands out. I don't know where he's going with that, especially when he's a part of it. He's trying to strive with Catalan, we're trying to grow a Super League. It just brings us right back down.
Yeah, in his performance against Lee, that was unwatchable. Like, I watched him play against Lee away, and he dropped the ball 6 times. It was like he had blown up marigolds for hands. So,
Okay.
like, do you know what I mean? Lots of games are unwatchable. Some of the games in the NRL are unwatchable. Lots of sport is unwatchable at times. But in a year where things just seem to be going in the right direction, attendances are up, there's really positive. We all think that the NRL being involved will be a good thing. So there's nobody saying that's not a great idea. The game needs strong leadership. Everybody agrees with that. It needs to be unified behind a direction of travel. And maybe Luke saying what he said gets that conversation going, you know?
Well, I am happy with the discussion that we've had, so let's leave that now and let's focus more on Warrington 2025. We have a segment. It's a new segment since you've been on, George. You wouldn't have taken part in it yet. It's Guilty, Not Guilty. I'll go first. Sam Burgess will be coaching the Perth Bears in 2027. Guilty or not guilty?
So not guilty means I don't agree.
Exactly.
That's controversial, Jenna, I'll be honest, because he's off contract at the end of
2026.
So it does fit
And he's
perfectly.
made some comments. There's been an interview out there saying it's his job that interests him.
It's a tough one, that, because I think a lot will depend. I know I'm going around the bush a little bit. I think it'll depend on how we go for the remainder of the year, but I reckon that decision would have to be made pretty soon. I think, obviously, Sam's been spoke about, Brad Arthur's been spoke about, but I'm going to go with not guilty. He'll either stay at Warrington or he might go back to NRL, but not with the Perth Bears.
Oof. Okay.
It's big. It's
massive.
Such a big call because
Massive.
you imagine you have that first year of Sam coaching at Warrington. It's such a positive situation. And one thing that I find really interesting is just one coaching job becomes available and the carnage around it is mental.
Yeah.
Like Brad Arthur's all of a sudden in question. Sam Burgess has been, his head's being turned.
There's so many coaches and so few jobs, isn't there?
Yeah, so just one extra job being created. Look at the carnage it'll have caused. There'll be like 10 clubs in the world now are thinking, we might lose our coach, and Warrington's maybe one of them.
Yeah. So just, do you have a guilty, not guilty?
Absolutely, yeah.
You do?
Yeah, but I think we should continue this.
Well,
I know
okay,
where
so-
you were going there.
Yeah. So just with Sam, what he did last year, especially, like, he's such a big name. We always speak about the aura around him. We speak about his influence and impact he has on players. Last year was a success. I know you didn't win silverware, but we certainly saw a different Warrington under Sam Burgess. Yeah. 2025 is just, there's so many injuries, right? You look at the team that's been named here at Magic to take on Wigan. It must be hard for Sam to have kind of felt like he was on this upward trajectory with Warrington. I had you guys winning the league this year.
Yeah, so did I, Jenna. Yeah. So did I. Well, if you're talking on previous years, before Sam come, we was all over the place. He came in, give us some grit. I think that's what we probably saw in us week in, week out. We didn't always win, but we was in the game.
Yeah.
He was in the game, we played tough. This year we have had injuries, but that's no excuse. I think Vegas was a massive one for us. We got pumped off Wigan over there, massive game. Which is really disappointing because obviously Warrington never won anything. They're always on about big games. They fail, and it felt like same again.
It had a big game feeling, didn't it?
It felt like a final. Of course it did. Yeah,
yeah.
It was unbelievable. Great experience, but we messed up the game. So we've been riding the wave big time. We've had a few good wins. We beat Saints in the Challenge Cup quarter final, and then I think we got beat off. Then we got beat off Lee the week after. Yeah. So we're just kind of up and down at the moment. We're struggling with injuries. Obviously, I'm out. Danny Walker's out now. Marc Sneyd's out. So there's the span players straight away. Matt Duffy's feeling lonely out there.
He will be needing some love as well.
How much will he be enjoying
He'll be very sad. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. No one else can score.
There's just 3 in for Matt Duffy.
Yeah,
that's the plan at the minute.
Pretty much. But it's been tough. It's been challenging. I think Sam's probably found it challenging like we all have. So last year, like I said, we were slowly building and fell off at the end. As this year, we're kind of riding the wave up and down. Hopefully we can build some momentum from here on onwards.
Well, my guilty or not guilty, and you've sort of touched on it, is this. Las Vegas derailed Warrington's 2025 season. Guilty or not guilty? Or, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Las Vegas could have derailed Warrington's season in 2025.
I'll say guilty just because of how we performed, and then ever since we've not really found our groove.
Has that been difficult then? But how has that had such an effect? Do you know what I mean? Because as a pundit, like, I'm looking at the team and I think, I understand getting beat in Vegas, it's quite a big thing and it was quite a big occasion, But then I don't know how that then translated into some poor form in the league. Like, I don't understand.
Well, we played Wakefield the week after and got beat convincingly. We were nowhere near.
They physically did one on you that way, didn't they?
They wanted it more than us. We was probably feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves. We'd travelled and all that. We used some excuses, and then that's where it kind of went down a little bit. But that's not an excuse. I think since then, like I say, I keep saying it, we're on the roller coaster now. We just need to find some consistent form. But when you lose key players, it's then hard to find some rhythm. So I do think our middles have actually been defending a little bit better. We're just lacking a bit of quality, and I don't say that cockily, but if you lose me and Marc Sneyd, the talkers, the organisers, and try and create, then you lose a fair bit of your team. So,
and Danny Walker now.
Danny Walker, massive, huge.
So the people who touch the ball most now are not playing. So there's some people in the team that have to do a different job, a completely different job, and it's incredibly hard. But that, I suppose, is my question as well. Off the back of that is, even if you take you guys out of it, Warrington last year defended with a steel and a resilience that it wouldn't have really mattered so much if you weren't touching the ball as much, George. And that's maybe been the missing thing this year.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think we went, like I mentioned St Helens a lot. We played St Helens last year. I think we had 11 men at one point. We still won the game.
Yeah.
We just found a way. So we do need to get that back. And I think that comes with confidence and winning games and keep people out. At the minute, we're not really doing that. So hopefully today it rains a little bit, it slows it down a little bit, and it's a tough game against Wigan, because I think that's what we need. Just a tough battle. Wigan are one of the best in the arm wrestle.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
And if it's a bit wet, it slows Bevan and Jay down, which helps.
Just a little bit.
Just please. They're still passing everyone else, but you know what I mean.
Anything to slow Bevan down.
Circle back to something that you said before. How when I said I had you guys down for winning the league, and you said so did you. Is that now gone? That goal do you believe that it can still happen? Do you believe that Warrington still have the personnel and the motivation and belief to go on and win? I know you're still in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup, so is that more of a realistic goal? You're kind of putting all your eggs in that basket, or are you coming back and you're thinking, no, we still have a shot in the Super League? Yeah,
the goal's not changed. We're still trying to win the grand final. That's not changed, and that's never changed at Warrington, because it's never been done. So my prediction
could still come good then.
Yeah, I really do hope so. I pray so. But we were striving to finish top and do it that way. As now we might have to do a bit of a different route, get in the playoffs and go the hard way. Last year we finished third, and if we can get in around the playoffs, like I say, it's all about momentum. So at the minute we've got none. It's up and down. So I'm out for another 5-6 weeks. Danny will be 10 weeks. I think Sneedy's going to play pretty soon. A lot tougher than I thought, Marc Sneyd. So I didn't have him down as a tough one, but he's going to play pretty quick. So I'm
going to get the face mask on.
Yeah, I think so. But he'll be a massive part of us going forward. He's a great signing.
Yeah, just on that, how did you react when you heard that they were going to bring him in from Salford?
I thought that's jackpot for me, to be honest. He's probably good at everything I'm not. He's long kicking game, controls the team. Not that I can't, but I just like to try and create and count numbers and just pop in where I want to go. So he brings control, and then me and Duff can try and create. And I think Josh Drinkwater did a good job for us last year doing that. Once we lost him, we probably realised his value. Not that we didn't value him.
No, you're so right. Sometimes you don't know what people contribute until they go.
Yeah.
And the smallest players can have the biggest contribution, but you don't realise it. So he contributed an awful lot to that.
Just in the middle of the field. He just held the middle really well, and then we could swing him sides. I think we spoke about it last year when I came on. So when we lost him, and we brought, I think we tried Steph there, we brought young Ollie there. And that's also a thing too. I think we had like 4 or 5. We've had 4 or 5 different halfback partnerships in 9 rounds. So there's just what's the word?
Fluidity.
That's the one, John. I've not got that in my vocabulary.
No, you nearly got that. You got the start of it.
Nearly.
So just on that, I guess, Leon Hayes. What's the plan for him? So he was given the number 7 jersey at the start of the season. What's kind of the...
He's had a tough ride, Leon. He got back fit in pre-season and then tore his hammy. I just don't think that's probably his body not used to run. He's not run for 9 months properly, straight into training, and did his hammy like an 8-weeker. They come back from his hammy, and then his ankle started hurting again. So he's just had a whirlwind of 12 months. He's doing it tough, but I said to him, you've got 15 years of this, hopefully. He's still only 20, 21. Yeah. So hopefully this is his bad luck and he can have a clear run, but he's a Warrington lad. Got the number 7, probably his massive dream of his. and it's just been halted, and he feels stuck at the moment. And I'm in rehab now with him, which is good. So he's really positive, to be honest. Yeah. But I wish him well, and hopefully he'll be back in the next month to 6 weeks. They're open, so that's positive.
Yeah, guilty, not guilty. Okay. Paul Vaughan's shorts are inappropriately small.
Have we not done this one?
No, but I need to talk about it. He's guilty.
He goes on the sunbed that much.
What he writes?
I think he wants everyone to see his tan.
It's not natural.
He reckons he's Italian, but he's going on Stockton Eve sunbeds.
100%.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a swagger about him, Paul Vaughan, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a good fella.
He's a great fella.
Yeah. But he rates himself as a bit of a sort. Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, a little bit.
He does. I've seen him. He does a little warm-up thing, little shorts, headphones on.
He's a bit of specimen, to be honest. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what song he's listening to when he goes out onto the pitch?
No.
I think he's like Mariah Carey or something. I think he's one of those.
Maybe, I'm not sure. But yeah, he it's like his little routine. I've noticed it.
What's he got? Superstition? I'll be on him.
Yeah.
I try and have my lads, anyone who's got weird superstitions.
I don't want to.
But he comes out on the pitch and does this. We talked about visualisation. He comes out and stands under the sticks and he does this thing and then claps his hands and then goes in. I'm like, what is that?
Does it?
What's that?
Is that every game?
Yes.
Let's see. Okay.
Oh, there's plenty in our team.
I don't know if it's a superstition
is
or what.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
There's some bad superstitions. Come on.
Steph Ratchford is the worst.
Yeah,
I can't talk about how many Steph's got. I'll be here all day. He drives different ways to training certain days. He's got to have certain grapes.
Yeah,
Like he has a smoothie, he has 8 strawberries, cut up in bananas.
Imagine it would suck
he has to get one of the lads to give him a chew it in the changing room. Get it out of his bag, mate. I just said,
that's right.
You're in your own. Mate, rugby league's hard anyway.
Why would
you do not want to burn your head out before you play?
Is it Phillips who he chooses?
Yeah. He has to have Heinz beans. So any away day, he brings Heinz beans to the hotel. It's extreme, John.
But I just hate that. I would hate to be him. Can you imagine how many things he has to tick off? Superstitions is a real problem for me because if you've got to do it there, what you're trying to do is create a situation where you're going to play well. So these things have to happen for you to play well.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what if you're not in control of any of that sometimes?
Yeah.
Unless you're just walking around with tins of beans on you.
Yeah,
how can you? What do you mean?
No,
there's a scramble to find somebody beans, or a scramble to get somebody the right amount of strawberries or something. It's just mental.
I'm on all of them. Luke Yates has got a few. He does certain amount of leg swings under the post every training. I said, stop it, mate. That does not make you any better or any worse. Stop it.
But why? They're not getting. The question is, why do people do it? Why do they have them?
Sometimes if you do it and you play well, they add it on, and then they do something else and they add it on.
Well, they can't. They don't play well every week.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make any sense.
I agree. I couldn't agree anymore. I'm trying to.
Do you know?
Get rid of it.
George, I can't remember if we spoke about this last time, but I thought that you had the superstition about your laces not doing them up.
I don't. I just took them in, but that's not.
That's not. Oh, that's
no.
So it wouldn't be an issue if someone's like, "Hey, let me just tie up your shoes before a game."
No,
you would be like, "No."
That's probably why my ankles are knackered, isn't it?
100%. Tie your laces.
Yeah.
He's got fat feet. He can't tie his shoes. He's got big fat feet.
You wouldn't know in those babies.
Those puppies, yeah.
Okay, on and off the bench before we wrap up. On the bench, obviously something you want to see less of in the game. Off the bench, something you want to see more of?
Less of.
Can I go on the bench?
Yeah, you go.
On the bench, for me, is we've just seen a resurgence in cards being given for things within the game. So I'll use an example. Suaso Su, red card at Leeds. And then we've seen a yellow card here. I had a great chat with Chris Kendall because I came out really strong after Hull KR Leeds game and just saying, look, I really think this is wrong. I don't think anybody in the game would think that's a red card. And we had a conversation and said, if in doubt, we're going to downgrade everything. So if we think it's a red and there's any doubt, it's going to be a yellow. If there's any doubt we think it's a yellow, it's just going to be a penalty. And then Lewis Murphy gets a yellow card for jumping to catch a ball. So I'm putting on the bench the disconnect at the minute between match officials, Phil Bentham's sort of department, and the players. Because I think there's a big gap between what players and fans expect and what the referees enforce. I think there's such a difference that it's hard to even...
I think you've took mine, you've nailed it.
Because you were shaking your head there at that Lewis Murphy yellow.
Yeah, you've got to use some common sense. I understand there's no head contact, but he's jumping for a ball. It's just an action of playing rugby.
Of course.
You only know that. And even the fan that's not played that, you can see that there's no intent to hit him in the head.
Nah.
He's just jumping up for a ball, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I'm with John on that. That's massive.
Perfect.
We just need to get that closer. The gap between what the referees think that they're doing, which is protecting players, which is the essence of that's all right,
Player welfare, yeah.
Everyone's fine with that. To then the actual application of that, which is really important, because there's things you can eradicate out of a game, and there's things that are just going to happen.
Yeah.
And if we start giving cards for things that just happen every now and again, we're going to get in a pickle. Because now, what if somebody jumps for a ball and just catches somebody with an elbow, just to brushes their head?
I'm sick of having to talk about it post-match. I've got literally a minute 30 with coaches, with players post-match. And it's the biggest talking point. I'm so sick of having to ask that question. Was it warranted? Was it an unfair decision? You're right. Let's get it right.
Well, imagine if that was in a grand final and you lose the game because of that action. A year's worth of work for
that,
yeah,
to come down to that.
And I know that's not
they're
happened.
massive cards are massive, aren't they?
Huge, yeah.
In games,
huge.
Like a card
what
just
about
changes the
in
game.
semi-finals at Hull KR calls it might be incorrect?
Well, there you go. That was season defining for us, and looking back at it, it was a try, was it? So
I think referees at the minute
Joe
are
just try in the corner.
Yeah,
and anyway,
and he's
one of my good mates, Budge, and he even joked about it.
He did
After the
joke
game,
about it.
and it didn't go down well for me watching it on the court, John, I'll be honest.
Live on
Didn't go down well.
Sky, Sam
Just a
Tompkins
stab in the back.
Yeah,
putting
big
it to
time.
him.
It was.
Okay, we are just about out of time, so very quickly, something you want to see more of in the game?
I want to see more of.
Oh, I actually had a lovely fan write in and suggest off the bench.
Okay, Jenny,
Which
you go
I
then.
don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I don't know how it would work, but I'm going to share it because I really do appreciate
How many fans are
writing in
messaging
and-
you? Because you had to scroll down quite far there.
Okay, on the bench. This is from Isolation Player. We've had you before, so appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
On the bench idea of a joint Magic weekend in Vegas or somewhere of note with both the English or European and Australian teams. Might have to be Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Now that is a festival of league. I'm not sure if I agree with it. I just think that it's too much.
Too many games. Too many
Yeah.
games, I think.
You could maybe mix them up and have like 3 NRL, 3 Super League and have that kind of magic.
I think that's the core. 3 games is probably time the 4th game come, you'd probably rugbyed out.
Like,
I'm going to say 2 games.
Would you?
What's
Do you know what I mean?
I had 2 games.
You'd probably have enough.
Anyway,
I'm
so that's kind
exhausted.
of what we're doing with Vegas.
Yeah, but 2
Yeah.
games. Just do 2 games.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway,
do 3
Isolation
days.
Player, thank you so much. Do you very quickly have something you want to add, John, or should we wrap?
That sounds like I'm being wrapped, really. I mean, it
Cut
didn't
you
give me a
off.
lot of... John, let's
Yeah.
finish it, Jenna. You finish it.
Well, George, I would like to finish it by saying thank you so much for coming on the bench again.
Good luck with Cinder's Mercy.
Yeah, I hope
Thank
we
you.
see you and Warrington at Wembley.
Yeah, we do. I really do. I hope Warrington turn that round. Because I thought I loved last year watching that development, and then it's just a bit flattening to see him sort of stumbling a bit again. And it's a bit like St Helens and a bit like Leeds, is where you see these clubs and you sort of everybody wants them to get going. What we want to see is every team playing the best all the time.
Of course.
But the sport doesn't, it doesn't work like that. But yeah, I hope Warrington and George come good.
Me too, thank you.
Well, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching.